Does traditional education deliver or fall short in educating and nurturing children? Introducing Aligned Learning Revolution, the show that confronts conventional norms and presents dynamic alternatives to transform education. Host Kahila Sivas tackles the foundational issues within classroom walls and advocates for holistic learning opportunities. It's time to reveal the strength of the innovative, holistic neurogrowth learning approach that goes beyond conventional teaching or tutoring methods, assuring every learner of a stress-free learning journey to unlock their fullest potential. Now, join Kahila Sivas.
James Dixon, the best-selling author of Absolute Motivation, has not only penned a book that has taken self-improvement world by a storm, but has also emerged as a beacon of inspiration and motivation for countless individuals. James' unique ability to transform adversity into opportunities resonates deeply with readers. But James' impact doesn't stop at the printed page. With an astonishing 128 million views on his Absolute Motivation YouTube channel, he has reached and touched the lives of millions across the globe. His videos serve as guidance, encouragement, and empowerment, making him the absolute motivator and the Superman. Beyond his digital presence, James actively extends his hand to others as an amputee mentor, offering unwavering support and guidance to those facing similar challenges. He embodies resilience and serves as a testament to the incredible power of human spirit. I am truly honored to have James Dixon, my mentor, today on our show. Welcome, James. Thank you so much, James Dixon, for coming in today on my podcast. Welcome.
I'm honored to be here, not just because of the opportunity to talk with you, but because you speak to so many people about the most important thing there is, about true education.
Yes, absolutely. It's very needed, much needed right now. So thank you for being here. So I want to ask you, you're now, playing the top level game. You're, motivational speaker, best-selling international author. You have a, amazing, is it a TV channel or a documentary coming out about
Yes,
well? So
I have a movie coming out. Yes.
Yes.
2024 will be big.
Epic. So from what you learned at school, how much of that has helped you in becoming who you are today?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. The most important figures in my life have been educators. I wish I could say that it's a culmination of no, it's just the right time, all these things or right decisions I made. But literally, when I was in elementary school, the first time I was in a play and being subconscious about being an amputee, I had a drama teacher that incorporated a scene that allowed me to hop across the stage and had every other kid do the very same thing. So she created something with me in it. I think another moment I remember an educator building confidence in me and putting me in public speaking and saying, James, I want you to get up and speak. And it was kind of a spark plug to the will that I do in life now. Another situation, I can remember teachers intervening and telling me not to drop out of school, not to give up because of hardships of being poverty driven or living in the inner city. I think about even the educators that stepped in and wrote the letters of recommendations that allowed me to go to college. You see, educators were my heroes. If it wasn't for them stepping in and intervening, being a parent to a kid that didn't always have both parents active in his life, those educators are much more than educators. They are influencers of a whole new kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I have, do you remember their names?
I do. One of the first ones, so Miss Hyman was one of them. She was the first one that ever made me feel loved from an educator. I can remember Miss Fox. She was in high school. She's the one that held me accountable. And she was so difficult, so hard on me, I thought. And I was like, man, I can't stand it. Everyone else just lets me coast. But Miss Fox demanded more out of me. And then I think about Miss Teeters. Miss Teeters was the one who was held me, told me about what I could be. They talked to me about dreams. And then, Miss Lau, again, it seemed like they're all women there, but there was one male there. But Miss Lau was the one who wrote the letters that got me into college. I didn't ask her to. She just came to me and she said, "It's time for you to think higher." And said, "I've got a letter of recommendation." She didn't just get one from herself to me. She got a local senator to write one for me. You can't beat that. Educators do so much more than share information and make sure kids are tested.
Yes, and it helped you so much to become who you are today. So
Oh, yeah.
those,
Without
yes.
them, without those building blocks, I don't have a foundation. So educators are everything.
Do you think there's some skills that we're not teaching the kids in the school to come into the real world? The real world
Yes.
we have now?
Man, see, I can think about the more we got caught up on social issues, got into conversations about that are political, those things didn't prepare you. They didn't give me the assets or anything, and they definitely don't give kids that today. I wish my kids had the instructors I had. Is because they were able to take the outside world noise and push that away and focus on development of skill set. Back when I was in school, we started off with something called shorthand, and they were teaching us different things, typing skills. I had to learn to cook, how to sew, things that translated into my everyday life that you would always be able to utilize. Maybe not the shorthand anymore, because now they just text and everything's abbreviated. But educators, if you have an educator today, the sad thing is many of them get handcuffed from the things they know these kids need. Imagine being there and you're not just in the suburbs of the wealthiest kids and you're there with generational wealth that you're dealing with, but you're dealing with kids who don't have wealth. You're dealing with kids that are on fixed income, the lunches for poor kids and stuff like that, right? You're dealing with that and you're like, what do I give this kid? An expectation that nothing's free, that you got to go after it. How do you get into that? Because if you say anything, you could lose your job by saying something like, listen, welfare is not for you. You don't need a free lunch. I promise you you can have many more things in life, but you got to work for it. That could be translated negatively in our environment now, where they go back and said, the teacher said, Mom, because you get free stuff that you don't want, you're lazy or whatever it is. And the teacher's not saying that, but they're saying for that kid, you can aspire to be more. But sadly, I've found that a lot of teachers don't have the freedom to say things.
Yep, they can get suspended.
Yes.
Actually, nowadays, people are getting suspended or
You
maybe
can't
not for.
mention the fact when I was in school, there were two genders. And now you can't even say that. You know, if you believe that, like there used to be a lineup, there was boys on one side, girls on the other. What do you do now? You know, you're like those that identify as boys this side, those that identify as girls this side, those that identify as Furbies on the middle, and those who identify as just any other animal. You know, yeah.
It's a different world, and I have so many coaches that are coming into our program. That's why they're leaving, because accidentally, if they call it, not purposely, accidentally, if they mispronounce their pronouns or the word that they want to be called, if it's cat, they have to call them cats. Like that's there. So for that, they could get suspended and out. So it's
I say I was talking to some educators in Indiana. I happen to be speaking at a school, and an educator came to me and said that they have had a number of kids who said, "I have been trapped. I'm a girl. I was born a girl, but I know I'm a boy, and became a boy." And they change the name and they get acknowledged for it. Only for the kid to have done that like sixth grade, then they get to high school and they wanted to date. So they switched back. And they were like, we have completely allowed these kids to say they are one thing, and we just have conformed to it. Well, how would a 12-year-old know what they are, how their life should go? You would never just give me the keys and let me drive at 12 because you say, I'm not prepared, I'm not mature, I don't have the finances for the insurance, for the liabilities. But yet we'll allow you to make sexual decisions that can alter the course of your life and touch so many other lives and generations ahead.
Yes.
That's why.
And why is it? And also, why is it the school is a place
for that
that needs to be
conversation.
explored. That needs to be
Yeah.
explored. Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I think that there is this thing where there was a generation of teachers who went into it because it was about a mission in life.
Yes.
You know, someone changed their life and they went in and they said, I'm going to impact people. I'm going to change lives. I'm about to speak into kids' lives and tell them what they can be. I'm going to transform the future. And then there was a generation who took the jobs who were like, I got a degree, can't find a job. I've got these crazy philosophies or whatever in life, and I don't have any real passions, but I got a degree and the qualifications to teach. I can go do that. And so they fall into a role instead of being called into a role.
Yes.
And so you take the passionate educator who was born for this. And for every educator that might see this, thank you. For every one of you that you know that this was a calling, this was a choice, this was a sacrifice. You are this not by happenstance, but by purpose. I'm sorry that you are assigned to work beside people who no longer love kids, don't love what they do. It's a job. And as a result of it, they don't have joy. And they don't care whatever philosophy they push into kids. So
Absolutely. It's a messy world. It's chaos in the school
yeah,
system currently. So as a product of a person who was groomed at a young age, what's happening in the school systems now, I find that that's what is happening with these conversations at a so young age when they're not ready for it. It's grooming. It's grooming them to become, telling them you can be whatever, whoever, and confusion, right, in their life.
we just had a basketball coach in Indiana. A male coach became the girls' basketball coach, and he was very friendly and very, very friendly with the girls and very protective. He didn't want the parents involved. He was talking with the kids, spending time texting with the kids, and came to find out that there was some inappropriate relationships.
Mm.
And I'm like, he groomed these kids.
Yep.
He prepared these kids for that. And then put them in an environment where they couldn't tell or shouldn't tell. Fear of being alienated, outed, or not getting playing time or some sense of attention. And so when you do this, you ruin these kids. You ruin who they can be, and you ruin the boundary lines of trust. You're taking advantage of them. And the more that we see this, just as we see if someone can groom them for wrong, what if we groom the children for right? But in order to do so, you almost have to step outside of the traditional school system. I can see many educators are probably, and you could tell me if I'm right here, many educators are probably getting fed up with, if I can't teach them, if I'm not given the freedom, if you're going to handcuff me, then I'd rather walk away. And when the good ones walk away, it leaves the inmates to run the asylum.
Yes, and that's been my mission, is to stop them, because the project that I'm based on is all of the passionate teachers are the ones who are leaving, because they're not there for the paycheck.
That's right.
Teachers don't make a lot of money, so that paycheck is not why we are there every day giving more than everything we can. Like you mentioned all these teachers who made impact and got a space in your heart rest of your life. They gave you that step right in the beginning. So there are so many people leaving that are supposed to be in the school. So the leftover are the ones who should not be there.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Oh, come on. I'm with. Do you know that one of the biggest joys in my life is going back to my school to see those teachers? I can remember walking back into my high school. I walked in and I saw one of my teachers, Miss Teeters, and I wanted to thank her for who she made me. I needed her to see that what she did wasn't in vain. We need teachers. We need them focused. We need their attention in our lives. We need their impact and influence. And so all I can say is that I thank you for what you're doing in their lives, because by you helping keep them in the battlefield, There are kids who are going to get a win.
Yes, absolutely. So, James, you had throughout your life a label, or, let's go back to your actual beginning with your mom, right? The words your parents say, I had a parent who was alcoholic as well. So, how much impact do they have in our life? Tell me about the impact that it had on your life.
My whole life is crafted behind words. Words are everything. Words create worlds, right? And my first conversations growing up, my dad would always say, "There's no way you could be mine with a disability. You're crippled. I can't make cripples." And so I felt rejected by my father for that. Something I couldn't control was how I was born, what I was born with, the challenges I had to face. So to have my father say, "There's no way you could be mine," or have my mother tell me that I had to be realistic, I would never be anything more than a cripple, or that she wished that um, I had AIDS or HIV positive instead of Magic Johnson, the basketball player, her favorite player, because she said he's doing something positive in the world. So you can imagine when you have those who are supposed to love you most tell you that you'll never be, or define you in the most derogatory ways, to tear you down. Boy, teachers had to be in my life to speak life over me. I spent a lot of time with teachers. The time spent with them was investment, and they invested into who I could be by just telling me I'm more than those labels. If it wasn't for them, I would
And
have believed.
how did you handle the label? Like,
It was I have
yeah?
to say, I accepted it, because coming from your mom and dad, why would you think that's not true? They're the most influential people in your life. And until you can hear someone give you the opposite, you don't know. If mom says that you're dumb, you're stupid, somehow, some way that seeps into your conscience of that you are. It creates these doubts, these fears. Children aren't born believing they're stupid. They're born believing they can do anything. In fact, born with less fears than anyone, right? But what people say to you can cause you to view yourself in a whole different way. And for me, I believe them. And so it took years to silence those voices out of my head and heart. And if it wasn't for educators, see, education is to give me information that opens my eyes to possibilities, right? They open my eyes to what I could be if I could only overcome the labels. And then I get to create my own, such as best-selling author instead of cripple.
Yes, absolutely. So if a parent is watching this, what would you tell them? Like if they have a son or daughter, born with something that they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
You know?
If you've been fortunate enough to have a child that has something to overcome, you've been blessed with someone that is unique. And the uniqueness is what makes them so special. Whatever your kid has, whatever the talent it is, whatever it looks like a challenge, could be the very thing that makes that kid extraordinary. If Helen Keller can have a name today, if I can have one, in spite of whatever you've gone through, it's going through something that turns you into something. Your kid's uniqueness is what makes the story so awesome. Embrace it. Embrace them. Turn it into a superpower and realize that that very thing that they have to deal with can also be the thing that allows them to get deals with it. Why not be the spokesman for the rest of the world? But you got to be supportive. Don't label them negatively. Label them a champion.
What about a child if they have a disability and they're at school? How did you handle those days when other kids, did they make fun of you? Did they say?
Oh man, I've had the cruel things. I never even thought I'd be loved, dated. I never thought there'd be potential. I was always full of fears. Couldn't change in front of kids. I couldn't openly admit that I lost my leg because the kids would make fun of me already. And if I accepted it, or acknowledged it, I thought it would be even worse. So I learned to lie and try to hide my identity around them.
Mm.
I had kids who would make legs, take sticks, put it into a sock, put it into a shoe, and show up at the bus stop and said, "I found you a leg." And everyone else would laugh, and I just had to endure that cruelty.
Mm.
You see, but then what I found is that as cruel as some of those people were, the reason why I think I gave them such an audience in my life is because I wanted acceptance from them. And so if you're a kid and you're going through that, understand you got the power of creating your own circle. Find new friends, find new people that encourage you and embrace them. Cut out everyone else. Don't give them an audience, but embrace whoever it is that embraces you. Get in that circle and hone in on that, because a true friend would never mock you. A true friend will never speak down on you or destroy your name. A true friend will build you up. And if you can find a true friend, you have gold.
Mm-hmm.
And those are rare. It's not the fact that you need a crowd around you. You need someone who can circle around you and have your back and you have theirs. So you've
And you
been
had
bullied.
yes, I was going to say, you also had a profound relationship with your grandma who believed in you as
Absolutely.
well.
Man, out of all the pictures that are around me, I found that the friend might even be something you might want to look at as your family too, because a family member can also be more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, my grandmother became my best friend, even though she was my grandmother. Out of all the things that I have around me at all times, I always have a picture of my grandmother.
Beautiful.
And the reason why I have that picture there is that there were times in my life where she told me what I could be, said what I one day could do, but I didn't always have that confidence. So for me to be here today, achieving all the things that I have, she's already passed and gone on to glory.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish she were here now so that I could say, "Thank you, Grandma." You know,
Mm-hmm.
I could say, "Grandma, I appreciate you believing in me until I could believe in myself."
Yes.
And so I keep her photo around so that she always sees her baby, that I heard her.
Yeah.
It's still here.
She hears you. So for a child who's going through that, if they're listening or going through that, it's really important them to not to have so many people. You only need one person. I only needed one person when I was 12 too.
That's
To
it.
see me,
Yeah.
hear me, and notice me. That's it. I only wanted one person. And when you're not there. So a lot of the time in this world, we feel like there's so much noise, but you could feel so lonely, right?
Yeah.
So how can a person reach out when they're feeling like that? In
Man,
their
I
life.
tell you, one of the best things you can do, sometimes in our feelings, we get bottled up. I write, I keep a journal and I write how I feel, things that I'm going through. This is precious to me because I get to be authentic and real. It's just me and my thoughts. And what you don't realize is one day that might be the best book ever, because the ups and downs, the things that you feel, one day you're going to help other people go through it. And so journal, talk, get those things out. Speak to people who love you, because that is a superpower in of itself. Like your son has with you. There's someone who believes in him, someone who speaks positive on him, someone who's you've built his confidence and he carries himself. And you want that to believe that I can do and achieve anything, because you refuse to put limits on him, because you broke out of the boundaries of the limits placed on you. And so, yeah.
And I also was very authentic with him. I don't hide. It's a lot of parents like to be the perfect parents.
Yeah.
When I went through struggles, I told them we're struggling, and then now when I'm successful, he sees me, our struggles can turn into success.
Yeah.
So he watched me grow up, almost my son. So, we were so close. So that's
But
important.
that's a wonderful thing, And I think that's why you're so passionate about educators, because you are one of the most educated, talented, gifted, and loving people on earth. And you make room not only for your own family, but for other families. And you share that. and you share that through being transparent. It would be easy to stand there and just as an expert say, look at my life, I'm successful, you can too. But you're like, we will go through ups and downs. The downs can feel horrible, but that's a growing place. And you're able to help them go through those moments and find their purpose. That's what makes you so unique.
Absolutely. So for young kids who are in school now, with what you're doing out in the world, real world, there's a disconnect from what they learn in the classrooms to what it's
Yeah.
needed in the real world, right? They come out and, right now there are a lot of kids exiting the classroom, cannot even read or do
Yes.
simple math, right? That's how they're exiting. So what is some skills they need to focus? I know you're on a lot of stages,
Right.
with a lot of
I tell you what,
influences.
we have to get our kids to read.
Mhm.
There's so much knowledge in book. There's so much, so many experiences you can get. Reading is essential, but we have such a few percentage of people that do it. I wish that, we look at they say, well, kids don't have the ability to learn. They can learn so much. It's just that they're looking up at the wrong icons. If you're looking up at a rapper, and you're like, and a kid can be 7, he'll learn every lyric to a rap song that's trending or popular, or he'll learn a dance and learn all the steps and all those things. But what we have to almost do is tell them, like, you want to be like the most popular rapper, you have to learn to read and write. Well, why would I need to learn to read and write? It's because you can't write your songs if you can't write. You can't read the contracts that you're to sign if you can't read. You have to develop all the skills that are necessary. It's not just a performance. And it's important to teach kids things such as manners, because of politeness. Your ability to get along with people is probably the most important power that you'll have in life.
Yes.
Your personality can take you further than many things. But if you're willing, if you can be gregarious, a person can be even introverted, but you can use that introvertedness in a certain fields. Every personality type has a purpose and a perfect spot for them to be able to use. You take a person who's got a critical eye for numbers. They find errors or they're critical. That person might be the best accountant ever, but teaching them how to do that. Even things like this. How many kids even know about a checkbook or balancing? The fact that we don't teach that. So why do I need math? When will I ever use geography? Or when will I ever? You'll need all those things. You need to see the world, know the world, experience things. You can get them outside of. Maybe that's why reading and things like that is so important. Because if all you ever know is your neighborhood, if all you ever had is your hood, and someone shows you the world, it expands you. It changes you. You no longer are thinking about living on your block. You're thinking about living all over going down and seeing Spain and seeing the architect, or walking in and seeing some pristine church and seeing the design, the artwork, the stained glass, learning the story, the history, going to Utah, seeing mountains. Now imagine if you're an inner city kid and all you ever did was live in the projects. No one in graduation rate. I know in Anderson, Indiana, that less than 60% of the kids will graduate high school today. You don't have your high school diploma. Where were you going to go? And that's why it's so important for us to give kids tools that they can survive in the real world.
What do you think would be a good solution for kids who says, I don't need school anymore? Because, within the AI world and with the, so many influencers on YouTube making tons of money, and they're like, I don't need to go to school.
Yeah, I can be a gamer. I can make so much money on Twitch. So why would I need to go to school? Because the biggest reason is for them to show them the history curve. There was a time, and I know you'll understand this. There was a time when there was a place called Blockbuster. Blockbuster was growing, booming. You go get a VHS tape, you could go get a CD, all those things. All of that is now gone. And so you can have a skill that is, there was a time where in rap music, there was a place for a beatboxer. Do you know what a beatboxer is?
No, I don't.
So beatboxer, instead of a song having a beat with drums, A
Yeah.
beatboxer, a person would like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
make noises with their
Yes,
mouth,
with
and
mouth.
they were the actual beat. That was a part of rap. Now that's all gone.
Yeah.
There's no careers in that. There used to be a role for that, and now that's gone. And so even if you were like to look at all the different things, the segments that were once necessary that are all gone now, times change, things evolve. And if you try to go do what everyone else is doing, and they say, well, not everyone's trying to be a YouTuber, everyone's trying to be a streamer, everyone wants to be on Twitch. It's like it's such a small percentage actually make it in that. And even they don't stay there. No one stays in a field forever. It evolves. One day AI will replace some of those, And so it's important that a kid develops the skills because there are certain trades. I wish trade schools were still in. Because if for a kid that feels like I don't need college, okay, but you need to get this high school diploma. You need to get the trade because there will always be a place for a plumber. There will always be a place for the guys to climb the light poles, for the guys who are willing to work in construction. There will always be a skill set that is needed, just like nurses. You'll never not need a nurse. But
And
you
more
have to go to
importantly,
school to become that.
yes, more importantly, school actually helps you wire your brain. Like it opens up more neurons, and you're expanding your brain width. If you're going there, you're going to be learning new things to add to your experience and everything, and then you become a critical thinker. So
See,
that's important.
And that is the thing, a critical thinker.
Yeah.
That having the ability, what education does? It will put you in front of people that you never thought possible. It'll put you in rooms that expands you. It gives you without education, without educators, I don't end up in any of the places I'm in. It was like, it wasn't personality, it wasn't the sheer force. You have to have the combination. You have to have that growth. You have to have people who challenge you to be more. And the accountability, teachers can be the most toughest people. But then the toughest teachers you have, you end up loving them the most.
Yeah, they push you out of your comfort zone.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Nobody likes you guys when you're pushing us. We love you later.
Later.
She's so hard. She always has homework.
So let's end up with back to the teachers. What would you tell those teachers who are passionate in the classroom right now? Their hands are tied. They're being told what to say and what to do and what to teach, and trading for basically, I'm stuck. Basically, that's what they're saying. I'm stuck.
Wow, man, I feel for you. I feel for you because I know what you can do because you did it for me. But if you leave, what do we have? There's got to be a way that we can fight back to build a resistance. There has to be a way that those of us who know your value, that have benefited from it, that we can become a voice for you. Because the louder we get as parents, the louder we get as influencers, the louder we get as a public, people will respond. Squeaky wheels get oil, and we need to get loud for you. Please don't leave. Please evolve. Let's find a way to fight this thing with skill, intellect, and as a team. You change lives. And unfortunately, if you're not in that place, we will fall to the mean. And I'm not talking about, we're talking about kids coming out less than average. You can't compete in a global stage when you can't even compete locally. You don't even have localized skills, let alone worldwide skills. But with you in our lives, you give us hope, you give us possibilities, you give us potential that gets fulfilled.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you for showing your grandma. We all got to see her too. I never saw her before, so that's nice.
Oh, wow. Man, I'm honored to share that with you. Yes. You're making a difference. Yeah. You really are.
There's just one person you need, right? If you're going through any tough time, find that one person and you just talk to that one person. You don't need a crowd, as you said. You don't
No,
need
you
audience.
get that one anchor and you'll be solid.
And watch absolute motivation, right?
That's
The
right.
channel. Tell
Because
us about that a
that's
little
it.
bit before you leave.
Edutainment, absolute motivation. The YouTube channel, that's what it's built on. Edutainment, educating people, encouraging them so they can go out and make an impact like you.
Yeah. Is there an age limit, James, for your channel? Like young kids can watch
Nope.
it? No.
Now we've made sure we cleaned up the language so that all kids can be able to
Awesome.
hear.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I would say once the kid is like 14, 15, they can dial in and be like, I like it, because responsibility, accountability is not as cute when you're, interested when you're 12, unless you have the Incredible Hulk or Superman pushing it.
One last question. Why did you get named as Superman? Who gave you that name?
My grandmother did.
Perfect.
She took my disability of losing a leg and said, listen, you're still Superman. You just have to overcome that kryptonite. See, it's a temporary thing. You can overcome it. You just have to see yourself as more than it.
Love it. And you have a book out about
I do.
the journey with her, right? It's about the journey with her.
Yeah. It's called Absolute Motivation. And the book is a love story about a child with a disability finding that the words his grandmother spoke gave life to him to speak to the rest of the world. And it changed everything.
Now he's speaking to the rest of the world and helping them. So she's very proud. She is. She's watching you, James.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being a great mentor. And I'm so excited for 2024 to see what's up.
This is going to be a great year. I don't know what anybody else is. Every year people are like, new year, new me. No, I don't need a new me. Man, I'm elevating this version of me. You're about to see more than ever before. We were born for this. Kohila, you have such an influence. Man, you are radiant, you are positive, you are an impulse, you are impactful in such a way. So this year, there's going to be some lives touched and changed, man. I can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to get mentorship from you. So thank you. Thank you for being here today and helping teachers, students, parents understand disability is not as title. You have to, make it your life into.
That's right.
And your grandma gave you a word, and that changed everything, right? Be the Superman.
That's it.
Yes. Thank you so much. So there you have it. That's James Dixon, the Superman. And I'm so excited to have him here today because he's my mentor. And Absolute Motivation is a channel that, I'm going to be also part of. So I'm excited for 2024 and I'm looking forward to working with him. He is such an amazing human, and what he has gone through and what he's doing now is just amazing. So if you haven't looked at his channel, I recommend that you look at his channel because it's going to be growing and growing in the next years to come. He has such a beautiful content on his channel. So take a look. I will leave that channel's link here in the show notes as well. So you can actually catch some of his videos and maybe mine as well. You can check it out. Now, I want to touch on some of the points that James was sharing with us. One of them is about the teachers that was in his life and how they helped him. And how he remembered all of those teachers' names because they were a big part of who he has become. They made him become the person he is today. So it's really important that, when you're a teacher, if you were listening to this, if you're a teacher, it's really important to know that you may not be noticing the changes you're making right now in your midst of, chaos, and people don't probably see you as, you're helping them, or you're not being appreciated, or they're not saying the nice words to you. But we do create the future for so many students and so many people. Like James' life has been created, and who he is and what he has become was created by those amazing teachers that those were in his life. And then, as he was saying and talking to young children and young people, you know, you don't need a crowd, you don't need an audience in your life. Only thing you need is one person in your life. You know, I want you to look in your immediate family. I want you to look in your immediate friends and see who is that one friend who will be there for you. Who is that one friend who will support you and who you can open up and be vulnerable and talk to them. So have one of those people in your life, and that's all you need. And you don't need a crowd. And I was a child like that as well, looking for a crowd, but I only needed to look for one person. I wasn't doing that. I was looking for a crowd. When we're growing up, we want a lot of people to like us and be around us. So we look for many people, we look for audience, we look for a crowd. But you know what? At the end of the day, only one person needs to listen and care and be there for us. And also, we need to be that one person for someone else. So in your life, if you can be that person for someone else, be that person for them, and you can also have that in your life as well. And if your parents, you know, you were listening, one of the powerful thing that James shared with us on this interview is the words you used to call your child, or, you know, the words you choose to talk to them with is so important, because the words, you know, when you're a child, you believe everything your parents tell you. Your words become my life, you know. So when my dad called me stupid, and when he would compare me to everyone, I believed him that I was bad. I wasn't bad. I was not a bad kid. But my dad made me believe I was a bad kid because he was not happy the way he wanted me to be. But I was a good kid. I was only 6, 7 years old. I didn't do anything wrong, but it wasn't enough for him. So as parents, you know, we have to be so mindful of the words we choose and how we talk to them and what we share in front of them, the language, the, you know, way we address them, the names. You know, you heard from James how much it has hurt him in his life. But there was one person in his life, his grandma. He has her picture beside him. Such a beautiful story he has. He has a book out, and I'm going to leave that link as well in the show note. And as I said, watch his channel, The Absolute Motivation. And I'll see you on another episode. And I hope everything that he has shared has inspired the teachers, inspired the parents. And I want you to look at the Absolute Motivation channel so that you can see how sometimes we have bad days, sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have setbacks. And he always says, James' words is that all your setbacks are your build up for your future. They are your setups, you know, for the future. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you on another episode.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Our purpose for this episode was to spark a reevaluation of the current education system. For more episodes offering practical and comprehensive strategies to enhance learning, please visit www.learningsuccessacademy.com. It is crucial to ensure that children have access to the holistic neurogrowth learning approach, enabling them to break free from the constraints of an outdated educational framework. This is your opportunity to gain insight and break away from a flawed system, setting your children on a path to lifelong success that truly nurtures their thirst for knowledge. That's all for now. We look forward to having you join us for the next episode.